Hey everyone, and welcome to Stock Talk on October 18th. So we have a lot to talk about. Let's get started right away. This is the SPY, which tracks the S&P 500, which we use for general market movement. So looking at these lines, right, I gave you guys two scenarios last time, and this was after the down move. I said that one scenario was if we go lower, we perhaps push down and then move higher. That didn't play out. But the other scenario, scenario number 2, was what? And you guys know it. It was at this time we were looking for perhaps, a hit of the resistance around 280 at that time. But you guys can see that we went over. And given that the markets are highly volatile right now, it's okay if it goes over $1 or even $2, right? We have to give it a little leeway. Hence, you guys can see my box of resistance. I call that the box of resistance. And here I call this perhaps the box of support. But regardless, you guys can see that, we tagged the top, and then now today was the move to the downside, right? To the downside. Now, also recall what was that scenario painting in the near future. So after this move down, it was painting for, a recovery back to the upside. So that's, that's still going to stay put. I'm not going to change it just based off of today's movement. Now, I want to take you guys to some key levels right here. You guys can see a support level of around 274. And this support level we didn't hit today, right? This is the red line. But what's more important about that level is the red line corresponds to a weekly close. Remember this line, guys? This line corresponds to a weekly close, which is corresponding to the 50-period moving average. When is the weekly close? It is tomorrow. So we have to, in my opinion, to continue the bullish case, right, of things. We have to maintain over the 274 close. Can we do that? We certainly can. Now, today's movement paints an interesting picture as to the trajectory of the markets, given where we are, where we stopped today, right? We stopped at 276.40, and this, you guys can see if I zoom in really close, this was below the green candle here, right? Below the low of this candle. So what can we do in the next few days? Remember, I'm still favoring a bounce. Whenever that occurs, that'll occur at some point, right? So whether the recovery goes to this level and then moves higher, right? Because we didn't fulfill my entire criteria of 274 today. So it could go down. We went to around, let's see, where did we hit the low today? It was interesting where we found support, 274.97. Now that's an interesting number because that is a number that no one was looking at, right? And this is the way that markets find support, and then they kind of trick you because no one was looking for that area of support, but we still kind of came off of that level. So what can we do? We can certainly come down and bounce off of that. Now, can today be the finishing move before it moves higher? That is also possible. And then, of course, the other possible scenario is if we spike lower and then move higher, right? That's possible too, right? We get some panic selling occurring around 274. It dives down to 273 or less, and then it recovers. But now what do you see in terms of my charts, right? Now you see that, first of all, the charts are all pointing in some sort of recovery back to the upside. So that's what I'm looking for in the near future. That's that. And you guys can see that from today's movement, I'm still holding the fact that the probability of us getting below this 270 mark, especially 270, or closing below that level is still not there. It's there, but it's minimal at this point. So that's what I'm looking for SPY. And let's take a look at volatility, or TVIX. So volatility, you guys can see here. Once again today, I'll take you guys to the 5-day, 5-minute chart just to show you that this boxed gray area represented a resistance area. It was a previous gap fill area, but I have it there because that's a general vicinity where you guys can see resistance, resistance, resistance. Yes, we spiked above, right? And hence I have a white line up there, but we've acted as resistance. So once you get up to this area, if you were in volatility, it's a word of almost like caution, caution. Are you sure you want to go in at a resistance area, right? So here's volatility. I'll take you guys to the yearly chart. And yearly chart, you guys can see that we hit that level, came off of it. Now the question is, can we go up higher? Yes, we can. We can have a spike higher, but can we maintain a level above that area? 43, 42. That's harder to see, right? For the TVIX, or especially the VIX, you know, corresponding to that level. So right now, I think we're in the upper realm of volatility. So you know, that's that. And all right, let's take a look at a couple of your commodities. So I want to tackle crude oil first, or 4/CL, because I did a video yesterday for members talking about a bear flag pattern in the near term, bear flag pattern that was going to play out to the downside. Because at the time, and this was yesterday, so there wasn't a public stock talk, but you guys can see that yesterday we did get rejected at this level after forming this bear flag pattern. Now you guys can see that today we came down again. Now the big question is, of course, the markets fell as well. That didn't help crude oil's cause, right? So the big question is, are we out of this bullish trajectory? So let's take a look at it and zoom out to the 3-year weekly chart. And looking at this chart, right, what you guys can see is that in the past, right, on a weekly time frame, we have found support in the past, right? So crude oil, while short term it is moving lower, especially going with the markets, long term it can certainly continue to be bullish, right? It can be bullish, but are you going to catch this train down if we don't have a confirmation of a drop up or a move up, right? Probably not, but that's up to you guys. And you guys can see, you know, once we have a confirmation of a move higher, right, on a weekly close, that's a very nice confirmation. The question is, are you willing to hold 1, 2, 3 weeks before another 3 weeks of profits, right? That's the question that you would be taking. But, you know, overall, the bull trend of crude oil hasn't been broken. However, in the near term, just showing you guys some quick chart action right here. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at in terms of a bear. Can you guys see this? Here is the move down. This is the bear flag. Here's the down move. Perhaps we're trying to make a flag again. If that happens, then we would expect, of course, a possible another leg lower. But right now, crude oil is moving lower, but you know, just keep that in mind. If you've been shorting crude oil, you've been doing a great job, right? Just keep that in the back of your mind in terms of you know, if weekly closes, because if weekly closes goes against you, you perhaps want to think about shifting your position. So that's what I would consider in the meantime. 4/NG, or natural gas. Natural gas has been a pretty difficult trend to play, and I've talked about that with the members, and the reason is you know, we have a resistance area around 3.400, which we haven't hit yet, and the resistance area is up here, right? But what we have been doing is really choppy. You guys can see this choppy action. One day up, next day down. One day up, next day, and the next day uncertain. And hence you guys can see I don't like to play a pattern in which, you know, I'm guessing 50-50. And you guys can see that here, right? We came down 3 red candles, but then we moved higher all of a sudden, and today we came lower again. So you can almost see that we're trying to form a top for natural gas. That is what's beginning to emerge right now. This is almost like a topping scenario. Are we? No, the question is, have we hit the resistance yet? We haven't. But at the same time, you know, that's interesting, right? That we're nearing a topping area. That's interesting to see. Does it mean that we're going to come straight on down? No. Remember in previous times when we made a possible top, look how long it took us before we eventually you know, come on down. And this is a more extended run. You guys can imagine it could take a little bit of time before the move goes lower. So that's 4/NG, or natural gas. 4/GC, gold futures. So gold futures, you guys can see on the yearly chart that, you know, we've had the spike up. This is the bull move by gold, and now I want it to come down and test my support level of around 1220. Well, it's actually situated around 1218. I want some sort of test down there, perhaps a tail candle, and you guys know that, right? I've been waiting for that. It hasn't happened yet. It's come down, but it's, you know, it's come down just a little bit, but we eventually usually pull higher off of this, you know, this back end. Can you guys see this candle right here? This move higher. It always kind of pulls up from this back end, this support level around 1220. So that's interesting to note. But, you know, if you're in gold, I mean, I think gold still looks bullish on the long term, and just looking at the charts, right, we've broken above. Sure, we can consolidate a little longer before perhaps the next push higher. So gold, it looks good, but you know, just want to keep in mind if you're in one of those ETFs such as JNUG, right, because those can move and shift rather quickly. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of your tickers. And let's see. Let me pull everyone's comments up. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, what do you guys do? You guys know it, right? Well, if you guys don't know it, please hit the like button or the thumbs up button if you enjoy these videos. I love doing these videos for you guys because I enjoyed looking at chart patterns. And in the stock chat room, which is part of the course, right? You guys know about that, the course. Check out the course in the description box down below. I made so many comments today. I believe I made a little too many, but from the chat room today, I was talking about the two scenarios, right, in terms of general market movement. We're looking at various scenarios over a break over resistance, or you know, a break over the resistance level before coming down, and I talked about how really in the markets there's no big catalyst, there's no like financial crisis that's telling us that the markets are going to push lower, and I made some of those comments. I also talked about you know, while I'll just talk about this, while I prefer to see, you know, a flush down below this level, right, we might not get it. Because why is it? Because the thing about this is all eyes are on these support levels, right? Who doesn't know about these support levels? Everyone knows about them. So what is the market's going to do? The market is going to come short from a support level or surpass the support level by a significant margin. Here, you guys can see the resistance line from 278 to 280. What did the markets do? We peaked over it. No one expected a resistance of 281. Ha, gotcha, bulls, right? And then it came on down. So, you know, the thing about this is trend lines are significant, but at the same time, you want to keep in mind, what everyone else is seeing, right? Just because we hit a support level, let's say 274, doesn't mean we're going to bounce off of it in this volatile environment. We have to give it leeway. Hence, I give these, you know, rather big boxed areas, you know, and you guys know it, right? As we've come down significantly in the magnitude that we've gone down, intraday movement is going to fluctuate a lot, and hence our support line can't just be, you know, sometimes it is one line, but it can't be just one line and say, hey, that's that, right? It's a range of numbers, and the range of numbers can highly fluctuate. The big point is, you know, identifying a good entry point if you are going long into the market, or if you're shorting a market looking for a good short position. You know, for example, you know, when we're down here, this boxed area is telling you shorts, be careful, warning, right? So that's, anyhow, that's that for it. And that's all in the chat room. Man, what we talked so much today. Can't even say what happened. So let's go to your comments, guys. Thank you for posting your tickers for me to take a look at. Continue to do so in the future. McCombs, appreciate your comment. Yarvin, David, Matt, one more turn, Michael. So we got all these questions. So Matt, your question was what EMAs, SMAs use if you were day trading, and I would say none. So this is something that you would learn in the course, right? I generally don't put any preference into the moving averages intraday when trading, day trading. So that is, you know, there are other indicators to be involved in, but not that one specifically. CRON, let's take a look at one more turn. So CRON is Kronos. So let's take a look at the yearly chart. So what is this kind of pattern? So this is actually quite a big lopsided bull flag pattern, but this is a very big range. You guys can see this is a 30+% move. So here, you know, I would want to, you know, first of all, identify your resistance level, which is in support levels, right? So your support levels are here, and therefore you have to ask yourself, where are we situated right now given its move? Well, we're in the middle. So, you know, when you're in the middle, you're taking a 50-50 shot, whether it's going to go higher or lower. So your best entry areas has to be near the bottom of the flag, right? So that, you know, at the very least, if it crumbles below, you know where your, you know, where to leave if you're wrong, right? So because this one moves very quickly, you don't want to be caught in the wrong side. You know, for example, if you say I want to take a chance, I want to take a 50-50 chance of it going higher, right? And then all of a sudden it dips. You know, this is 10% already. You know, how would you feel? It depends on how much you put in. So that's something for you to evaluate. Thank you for your ticker, Michael. Why don't I mess with options? So, you know, I do what I do well, right? And I capitalize on what I do well. And if I do well trading stocks, then that's something that I will do continuously. Options, you know, if I'm not too familiar with it, if it's a little more risky, I'm not willing to go into a space, and unless, you know, I do something else, or like, you know, have some sort of way to you know, get it done and get it done well, then I'm not going to gravitate towards that space with my own money. Sure, I might do it, you know, on the side with, you know, virtually perhaps, but not at the moment. So thank you for your comment, Michael. K9, we'll tackle your last ticker, and that is PTOTF, Patriot One Technologies. Okay, so Patriot One Technologies, obviously a pretty good trend, right? Pretty good trend. You guys can see that when we go up significantly, up, what happens? Right here was the double top, and then down, down, down. So now what are we doing now? We've gone up, and what's happening? We're forming some sort of peak. So can we go higher? Yeah, we can go higher, but you have to imagine, you know, if you didn't catch this wave higher. Take a look at this. You know, if we let's move this line. You know, if we didn't, let's see, right? Can you guys see that? Like from nearing the bottom to where we are here, from the bottom to where we are here, we're nearing the upper end of the previous run. So, you know, are you going bull on this, or are you going to short this? If you short this, you know where to short against almost, right? But if you go long on this, how do you know when to leave if you're right, and how do you know when to leave if you're wrong? Those two questions are very difficult to answer with this stock, right? And hence you have to ask yourself, you know, are you willing to take a position if you can't answer two of those very crucial questions? All right, guys, that's it for this video. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I told you guys, right, last week, every single day is a very interesting day in the markets because of high volatility, whether it's to the upside or to the downside. But in the meantime, tomorrow is going to be another very interesting day, right? And all of next week, and perhaps all of this month is going to be interesting until midterms. So keep that in mind. Thank you for watching, and check out the course if you haven't already. See you guys later.